This is your tech news briefing for Tuesday, March 7th. I'm Zoe Thomas for the Wall Street Journal. Twitter has had a lot of layoffs since Elon Musk took over. In December, he said Twitter was down to roughly 2,000 employees. It had close to 8,000 before he acquired the company just a few months earlier. And since then, we've reported Twitter's made more cuts. The layoffs are part of cost-cutting efforts, and their magnitude relative to Twitter's size is unlike anything else in tech. And that's got other tech leaders and investors curious. How many people does it take to run a tech company? Joining us to discuss this is our Twitter reporter, Alexa Kors. Hi, Alexa. Thanks for coming back on TNB.
Thanks for having me.
So there have been a lot of cuts at Twitter. Can you tell us generally where are they coming from within the company?
We don't have exact numbers, but we know layoffs have affected teams across the company.
So the big question with all of these cuts is how will they affect the running of the platform? The first thing is we have seen some glitches. Can you tell us about those and how Twitter has been reacting to them?
Of course, Twitter is still running so far. It's not dead, which might seem surprising given all the layoffs. But we have seen several glitches in recent weeks. That's certainly raising some questions. Last week, for about 2 hours, there was an incident where users said they were having trouble accessing the timeline. On Monday, for about an hour, there were glitches with broken links and images. And then Twitter said that they had resolved that issue. It's hard to tell from the outside. Twitter hasn't given many details about what causes a specific incident, but we've certainly seen these incidents in the last few weeks.
So, Alexa, you've been speaking with experts outside of Twitter. What do they think the impact of these layoffs is on the company?
Some experts I spoke to said there's a difference between just trying to keep a company running versus growing really fast. Or when your site is growing really fast, then you're going to need more people just to keep up. But if you're trying to maintain a system that's already been built, you might be able to do that with a lot less people.
Okay, well, what about those people who are still at the company? Have we heard from them on how they feel since all these layoffs started taking place?
Yeah, some employees who are still at Twitter have said they really like some of the changes, some of the new features. They've called it more exciting now. But I spoke to some employees there who said they're stretched really thin and scrambling. Many engineers have left, and the employees who are left are having to jump in and work on these systems they've never touched before, sources told me.
From the people you've spoken to, can you tell us, what have their experiences been like when they are dealing with systems that they maybe haven't had to deal with before as Twitter employees?
Well, I heard this one anecdote that I think illustrates some of the confusion and frustration I was hearing. About 2 weeks ago, Twitter's Slack unexpectedly went down. Staff couldn't get in. And one of the employees was telling me this was really frustrating because Slack was a way to find old notes and helpful messages, especially when so many of your colleagues have left the company and aren't there anymore to help. So Twitter said that Slack is back now for staff, but that's one example of the frustration I was hearing from some employees still there.
A lot of other tech companies are also announcing layoffs, and they're trying to do more with less. They're trying to be more efficient. What are they taking away from Twitter's experience?
I've definitely heard this from people in the industry. If Twitter can survive after all these cuts, there's some people who think that will inspire some executives to try to be like Elon Musk, at least in some way, try to be a little more hardcore, as Musk has put it. We've seen layoffs across the tech industry lately: Google, Meta, Salesforce. Twitter's cuts are of a different magnitude. It's not a perfect comparison, but the whole industry is watching what's happening with Twitter right now. And take, venture capitalist Bill Gurley. He was, tweeting about this in November, and his take is that, he said companies usually are too cautious when they cut, and they underestimate how resilient companies are. And so he doesn't think that doomsday predictions about Twitter are going to come through.
And what about Musk? Has he commented on their ability to do more with less, or maybe do the same amount with less?
Yeah, I mean, Musk has said he has really big ambitions for Twitter. Twitter has been, launching and tweaking new features. They revamped their subscription service. It's still early days, but in Musk's view, he said Twitter had to do layoffs because they were losing money, and he now plans to turn it around.
All right, that's our Twitter reporter, Alexa Kors. Thanks for joining us, Alexa.
Thanks for having me.
All right, that's it for today's Tech News Briefing. For more tech stories, head over to our website, WSJ.com. I'm Zoe Thomas for The Wall Street Journal. Thanks for listening.